I first invented the herringbone technique back in the late 1980s. As you can see, the sticks make a classic herringbone pattern when they're supported with rails, so the herringbone name stuck. Calling them falling stick chains is kind of boring, and besides that, I like pickled herring, so there. Herringbone chains are pretty easy to make, and they have a much longer duration than stick bombs, so I still make herringbone chains a lot. The first thing you'll need for a herringbone chain is a supply of sticks. Pretty much any flat stick from toothpicks to rulers will work, and if you have no sticks at all, you can take a piece of cardboard and cut it into strips like this. Next thing you'll need are some sort of upright supports. They could be anything from a couple of dominoes stacked on each other to a piece of paper rolled up into a tube. About the only requirement is that they're reasonably stable. Rails are optional and pretty much any long stick can be used. If you're using wooden dowels, be sure to get one with a square cross section because they don't roll. Here's the basic principle on how herringbones work. If you have a couple of upright supports like this and then you place a stick across like that, then pulling out either one of these supports will make that stick collapse. And then if you take another stick and another support and place them so that one end of the second stick is resting on the first stick, then if the first stick falls, then the second one will fall as well. And then you just keep adding new sticks like that in a nice chain, and before you know it, you have an iterative process going. Isn't that just too much? And anyways, once you've got a chain like that, then you can see how the herringbone works. Woohoo! It's a good idea to use supports that are about as tall as your sticks. That way, when your stick collapses, it will fall clear from the support. If your supports are too low, you can get a lockup like this. The two most popular patterns are the classic herringbone weave and the ortho weave. Or you can cast off the shackles of conformity and go with an eccentric weave like this. Split offs are very easy to do with herringbone chains. As you can see here, you just simply build off the main chain like this. And there you go. A very simple way of starting your herringbone chain is to attach a ribbon or string to the first support like this and just give it a tug. One trick you can do with herringbones is to use rails to support your sticks. Simply place the supports for the rails as shown here. Then you place your rails on top like that. And when you're done, just make sure that the gap between the rails is slightly wider than the length of a stick so you don't have any accidental bridging. Transitioning from supports to rails is actually quite simple. Just make sure that your last stick supported by a support is lined up reasonably well at the beginning of the rails, and then you can just continue weaving from there. Transitioning from rails back to supports is just as easy as it looks. With rails, you can create multiple rows like this. You just have to use supports right here on the ends to go around, but otherwise it works out pretty well, as you can see here. Woohoo! As you can see here, rails also work nicely as bridges, such as this one I used to connect two tables together. One neat trick you can do with rails is to create pyramids out of cups. And it's quite simple. Just make sure the cups are in the middle so that they fall clearly of the rails. And just be careful so that you don't knock anything over. And just keep building your pyramid. And voila! A pyramid good enough to make King Tut come back from the dead. Upward transitions are actually very easy to do with herringbone chains. It's just a matter of having some sort of extender that's reasonably stable and won't fall over. And once the extender is into place, you just continue weaving. With a little ingenuity, you can create upward transitions of just about any size. And of course, you can always use upward transitions to go from small sticks to big sticks. Doing a downward transition is almost as easy as doing an upward transition. It's just a matter of connecting the two sticks with a piece of string or a piece of ribbon or even a strip of paper, and it works pretty well.